Hello, welcome to True Hoop with me, Jarod, Hector, and Coach David Thorpe. How are you, sir?
I'm well. How about you?
Good. Trade deadline day is here at 3 p.m. A little programming note, 3 p.m. Eastern, for those of you listening in various parts of the country and world. We will do this sort of episode today as a recap to what has happened, our thoughts, some more larger things around the league and what we're seeing. And then we'll have another episode out tomorrow that'll recap whatever happened after we log off today, this morning. So lots of content from True Hoop. David, I want to start here because you work with, all types of players in the NBA of all different levels. And I imagine this time of year for maybe your younger guys probably is a little stressful, right? Because they're like, oh my God, am I getting moved? Am I getting moved? Am I getting moved? How do you help them? Because I'm sure they reach out to you. Like, how do you help them sort of stay calm during this period?
I didn't know you were going to ask me that, but I was going to give you a qualifier to start. Every once in a while, I do get a text when we're on the podcast that I have to answer. Sometimes it's my children because my wife is still working for a few more months. So normally, though, it's a player. And so I've got my phone right here. I talked to some agents this morning. I don't think I have a lot of guys. Some of them might get moved. It happens. Mm-hmm. In every case but one, we'd be surprised if it happens. We've been told by every team, we're not going to move this person, but you never know.
Right.
So I tell my players the same thing. We wake up every day. We don't know who's going to be coaching us. We don't know what the system's going to be. We don't know where we're going to be necessarily tomorrow. But we got a plan for today. And this is the nature of this business. Mm-hmm. If you don't like this business, there's other things you can do, but they don't pay the same. So this is the privilege of being an NBA player. It does come with some potentially negative things. And these young guys are pretty resilient. They understand it. And, they all say that they know it's a business. I'm hearing people talk on TV. Mm-hmm. They don't really understand.
Right.
They don't understand. And we're going to get to Dallas in a minute, I know. They're all part of the little marbles in the galaxies in the end of Men in Black, where the oligarchs are just rolling the marbles and they collect them all at the end of the day. It's sad reality. By the way, it's not different for you and I.
Correct.
Our food prices aren't because of much else other than corporations just want to charge more because they can. And they have people saying, well, pandemic and this. No, you don't have to make billions of dollars if you don't want to. You choose to. Because, we have to eat something, right? Mm-hmm. We're all just little specks, right? Just stardust, really. We're just little pieces of stardust. And I do tell my players exactly that. The money is the same no matter where it comes from. And so let's just find the joy in what we're doing every day and can't worry about the other stuff.
Yeah, the process, right? Enjoy the process of getting better and improving as a player and all those things, and let those other chips fall where they may. So it's it's interesting you said that, these players are specs, right? In a larger, in a larger game being played by these oligarchs. And that brings us, of course, to the Dallas situation, which, shocked many people. David, I can't say that I was shocked. Not because Luka Doncic is not someone who I thought would be traded. It's just, I was not shocked because I'm like, look, man, this is the NBA. And to me, once I heard that, I was like, man, what else is going on here? Because this sounds on its face like if I just took it in a vacuum, this is crazy. So something else must be going on.
Or the GM of the Mavericks is an idiot.
Well, correct.
But
he's not that.
He's no idiot.
Correct. Yeah. And so that's where I was. So I don't know about you, but I was asleep when the trade went down. So I didn't know until the morning when I woke up. And I was like,
I'm so stupid that I was actually watching a college game. And maybe it was Saturday night, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 11 o'clock tip-off in a college game that I just had to watch. And I just said, you know what? I've talked to all my pros today, all my college guys today. I just want to watch this game and focus on it. And then when it was done, I didn't even look at my phone again. And they didn't run it on the postscript. I think my game was on ESPN even. They didn't even run it on the postscript. Like, I woke up in the morning, I don't know if I told you this, 60 messages. So I immediately panicked.
Right.
My daughter had texted us at 4:30, not realizing it would probably wake us up because she was going to work for a 6 o'clock shift and just was saying hello. And I knew she was fine, and I knew my son. I just talked to my son; he was fine. So now I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? And I never would have imagined. You could have given me 100 guesses. You could have told me, Coach, you have 60 texts. I'm not joking when I tell you that. 60 texts. 5 or 6 might have been from you guys, if I remember right. Yeah. Who do you think was traded? I wouldn't have guessed Luka in 100 guesses. Yeah. Because it's insane.
Yes. And so that's the point. On its face, it is insane. So that's why I didn't have the reaction like everybody else, like, oh my God, this guy must be an idiot. I go, man, what the hell is going on here? Because this just does not make any sense. Because to David's point, in a vacuum, if I was Nico Harrison's boss, and newsflash, people, Nico Harrison has a boss. GMs can't just do what the fuck ever they want with no consequences. Usually at least one, sometimes more than one person above them must okay that, yep, you can do whatever this thing is. Okay. That in and of itself is a straight up fireable offense. You do not trade a 25-year-old perennial MVP candidate who just took you to the NBA Finals to a Western, and you get Anthony Davis back at a draft pick? Like, that literally is a fireable offense for negligence and being horrible at your job. So I was like, all right, I know Nico Harris is not dumb. Something else.
The opposite of dumb.
Right.
Super bright. Very clever.
Something must be going on here. And, we are not reporting anything official here at True Hoop, but I encourage everybody to go read the wonderful piece that Henry put out at True Hoop, where he basically just outlines all public information that everyone can be aware of because it's out there about Miriam Adelson, who is the majority owner of the Dallas Mavericks. She is the widow of the late Sheldon Adelson, the owner of the Las Vegas Sands Corporation, right? A hotel resort casino business that operates many casinos all over the world. Casinos, newsflash to people who did not know, is a legal front to launder money and large amounts of money. That's what happens through casinos. And if you look through her political donation history, of course, she's given the Trump super PAC and all that, but she's also given money to basically the entire Texas state legislature. Why? Gambling is not legal in Texas. And her hope is that it will be at some point someday. And she's also purchased large swaths of land in the Dallas-Fort Worth area because she believes that that can be a hub for her business, which is, as I said, the Las Vegas Sands Corporation, where they operate casinos and hotels and resorts. And to have this sort of big destination place with an NBA arena, state of the art, also as a part of it, as a part of that revenue stream. When you look at all that, David, that is something that will generate a perpetual sum of ungodly amounts of money that I can't even fathom at this point. So, if that's your bigger play, and you were someone who's never exhibited any interest in sports prior to owning the Mavericks, why would anyone think that she actually cares about Luka Doncic or moving him or what have you, right? There's a bigger game at play for her. And so the Mavericks, what it seems like to us is a means to that end.
Yeah, the way I described it, well, so first of all, when the trade went down, I had two thoughts. My overwhelming thought was this is a Luka deal. He basically demanded, I'm done with you guys. I want to be traded. It didn't make any sense because he can't get he
Supermax.
Lost over $100 million
Correct.
on this deal. Yeah. And not including the taxes in LA compared to Dallas.
Right. Big point, David. Texas is state income free. Huge difference.
Yeah. He was due $400 million over the next, I think, 5-6 years. I forget which one, if he had stayed in Dallas. So my second thought was, this is ownership. They don't want Luka. What I still know is the idea that he was fat or drank too much beer or was just kind of a disconnected teammate is just a pile of crap. Who gives a fuck? That fat, beer drinking, surly, sneaky dude took your team to the fucking finals when he was, 24 or 25.
Guess what? You deal with it.
Like, you're allowed to grow up. It's absurd. And then, and I want to be very clear. So everything I'm saying is not at all impugning the character, intelligence, or anything regarding Nico Harrison, the president, the guy who runs the team, because he's acting on orders and wants a career in sports after Miriam's dead and gone. Okay, just be fair, or just no longer owning the Mavericks, which could happen as soon as they get the arena built.
Correct.
So this is what you said. The example I gave in the article was if you can agree, if we can agree that she just wants to get that casino bill next to the arena, the team doesn't matter so much. Well, now we're just talking about a simple transaction. So again, the example I gave is as someone who travels a decent amount, I almost never rent a car. We Uber it. Okay, or I Uber it if I'm traveling myself. And when I open up Uber, if I'm in any state like California, which is great, I've got Uber Comfort, which is you can let them know ahead of time what you want the air conditioner to be, whatever. I never mess with that. Uber Green, which is even better because then you pretty much get a newer car and it's electric, great. Uber X, the cheapest one, often fine depending on how long of a trip I have. Uber XL, larger, right? Or Uber Black, which is the big fancy whatever. Today, I don't even know. I've never done it before. Well, why do I want to do Uber Black, especially if I'm by myself? I'm just going to my hotel, put my bags down. I don't like Uber X if I have like a 25, 30-minute trip. It's just sometimes cramped. So I can spend the extra $10 or whatever for the Uber XL or the Comfort, which is sometimes the same thing. But that's what the Mavericks are doing right now. It's what Miriam's doing. I just want to make sure we get the arena built. Luka is Uber Black. I have to spend all that money. Oh, and by the way, I also traded Quentin Grimes because of what he's going to be making in his next contract. When I can just get Cody Martin. I think it's Cody.
Caleb,
that's what I said. I get Caleb Martin for a guaranteed what he already making. I know what he's making. That's a cost I can project.
It's a known cost.
Can't do Grimes. He's a free agent. So that's a telltale sign. Grimes has a better future than Martin. Is much younger, and Luka's 25. They traded for an older guy who had been injury prone. He's doing better. The defensive at the big position wasn't a problem for them. And when they say publicly we're going to play like Cleveland, but Cleveland's got a power forward who's also young, 39.8% from three. AD's 29.8% from three.
Correct.
So what are we talking about here? Those are just lies. I understand why you're lying. You're being instructed to protect your boss. And I get it. I'm not mad at you at all. But let's just be honest. You're not trying to win a championship. This is not about Luka's beer drinking, fat, or anything else. This is you guys want to spend less money to get where you want to go to your hotel, which is the arena and the casino. That's all we're talking about here. Everything else is all made up hooey. And to be honest with you, I feel a little dirty that we're even talking about what we will in a minute, which is how the teams look, because that's what they want us to do. That's what sport washing is. They want us to get distracted by, well, the AD does this and this. Who gives a flying fuck? You traded one of the world's three best players who's 25. He's an MVP candidate for the next 6-7 years at least, and has been a winner wherever he's gone, despite his problems. You don't care about the other stuff. You want us to be distracted. You and I will do our jobs, but I mostly don't give a fuck about that team right now because they don't care about their team. We can talk about the Lakers a lot more. They were given the gift of gifts.
Boy, what a talk about just waking up into dumb luck, right? Because before this happened, we all knew this. We're like, man, the future of the Lakers ain't looking bright. Like, once this LeBron AD thing ends, we're like, where is their future coming from? All set now. You got your 25-year-old MVP of the future. You'll be able to attract a bunch of free agents because you're LA. And listen, you're going to be just fine. But
if you could have anyone in the league, if you could have gotten that phone call from anyone in the league, and you had to rank them, number one would be San Antonio.
Wemby, yeah.
For 100%, okay? I would love to get the call from Masai Ujiri about Scotty Barnes. I happen to think he's beyond spectacular. I don't know if there's someone else. Jokic would be great.
Yeah.
By the way, I should add. Short term.
Right, because he's 30 now, so you're like,
he's got some years where he's going to be one of the world's best. Giannis would be just fine. He's amazing and angry. He's a savage right now. He's just murdering everybody and wants to fight Chris Paul, which we even talked about that. I watched that game. But Luka's right there. And maybe you could argue number two after Victor.
Yeah, because of the age at 25, right? Which means I've got a longer runway with this. Look, it again, let's be clear about this, folks. Sheldon, Miriam Adelson, owner of the Las Vegas Sands Corporation, it is in her best interest to have gambling made legal in Texas. So that part has to happen first. That has not happened yet, right? So all she's doing now, it is my speculation that everything is a leverage ploy to make sure that happens. Because if for some reason, because guess what? Wealthy people give money to politicians all the time and they back out or change their mind or don't do what they say or they don't get the votes they want and they don't they won't. There's a world where they don't pass and make gambling legal in Texas, right? That's possible. Well, she needs something else to hold over their heads to be like, well, if you don't do X, I'm going to do Y, right? And when you make the team worse, and the idea is now you'll have fans who will be less interested in the team, right? If the team decides to bottom out, I got a team that's not performing well, that I got no attendance. Well, now we're going to move, right? And she can threaten moving the franchise.
Right. That's an easy next step, because here's what I think happened. And this is total speculation. I don't even know Nico. Maybe I met him a long time ago, but I don't know him. It's been reported, and I believe it to be true, that he and AD have a good relationship. Mm-hmm. It's one of Nico's gifts, because I think he built a great relationship with the people at Nike when he was there. And so he says to AD, hey, we're going to do our best this year. We got Kyrie. He's mm-hmm. fun to play with.
Yeah, for
AD
sure.
hasn't played with many guards like that before.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun. If it doesn't work out great, I got you. OKC, Denver, my first two calls. Mm-hmm. You tell me if there's someplace else you'd rather go. You want to go Miami? Okay, we'll talk to them. But at OKC next to Chet, beautiful. Denver next to Jokic, even more beautiful. Right now. That to me is the best fit. So we'll take care of you. And it goes to what you were saying. As Dallas recedes from contender, even though this year they weren't contenders only because Luka was hurt.
Right.
When Luka was fine, they were really good.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. So now they'll drop down a notch because they have no Luka. And they also have no Grimes, although Martin might be okay. We'll see. There's some holes on that team.
Mm-hmm.
So the next step is, okay, now we move AD. We'll get some draft picks. We'll kind of build for the future, but not great picks. Denver, OKC can good picks. Denver can't.
Right.
And yeah, so now no one's coming. And now the buzz is bad. And you're exactly right. They're threatening the league. They're threatening local community. You're going to lose the Mavericks.
Mm-hmm.
And we should add one more thing. That's why you give all the money to the president. You're not just putting the money in the pockets of the people who are voting. This administration doesn't give a damn about norms or morals or any ethics. They will put all the weight I could see our stupid ass federal government withholding something from Texas,
sure,
unless they agree for casinos to be there.
Sure.
Anything's possible in this world now.
During the Trump first administration, the billionaire that was most present in the Trump White House was Miriam Adelson. So just again, just so you all know.
Yeah. Now they're number two.
Right.
Behind Musk. Now they're number two, like a benefactor, so to speak. So they have every reason to believe they're going to get what they want. And why would I going to spend all this extra money to do it? Yeah.
I mean, that's just billionaire 101. They don't spend money they don't have to spend. That's why they're billionaires, right? Like that's just what they do. So again, people, think about that as you get angry about like, oh my God, like, no, there's always bigger things at play. All right, David, let's get to on the court. So, of course, Laker fans are rejoicing and so happy. Oh, my God, we got Luka. You and I both agree, though. They're still not winning any title this year.
Yep.
I like Luka, LeBron, Austin Reeves. They just got Mark Williams from Charlotte for Dalton Knecht, Cam Reddish, 2031 unprotected first, and a 2030 pick swap.
So something for nothing for this year.
Yes.
Because Dalton Knecht was a nothing this year.
Yeah. After his hot week of shooting, and we were all like, well.
I think he's had 5 games of 4 threes or more. 4 of them came in November.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
And they got, of course, Maxi Kleber, who I don't even know what his injury situation is, when he's coming back, what have you.
When he has been playing, he's been back.
So there's that.
He's been around. I don't know that he's the 5. I think Jackson Hayes.
I think
Luka will do for Jackson Hayes what he's doing for Gafford.
Okay.
Luka's the best lob thrower in the league.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's
Jackson Hayes is crazy athletic. I watched him play the other night against maybe the Lakers. Yeah. Where one block shot, he just stole it in the air. He just went up. I might have been against LeBron. Boop, caught it. Then blocked 2 others very impressively. And he's one of the most athletic 5s I've ever seen. And he's big. So they've got 48 minute of athlete the way Dallas had 48 minute with Luka. Though they're not the defensive players yet.
Well, right.
Mark Williams rated really like shockingly low, but I think it's because of Charlotte. Like, there's almost you can do. You can't be dodging bullets all the time and expect to be good. We'll see. Yeah. But I have a feeling that's one of the flaws of any of these metrics is you still got to. It's still 5 guys playing.
Correct.
So I think it'll be better. I think it's a good fit. It's good for Luka to have at least those 2, and then Maxi's more of a shooter, so they'll space things out a little bit.
Right. But for this year, they still don't defend well enough as a unit. They don't shoot well enough as a
No,
group.
they have
Right.
holes all over the place right now.
And look, as much as they're two basketball geniuses, savants, there's still going to be a workout period of Luka and LeBron playing together.
There will be. I don't agree. I agree with you. I don't agree with all the former players saying they can't play together.
Right. I don't think that.
We've done this before, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Some people said the same thing about him and Kyrie.
Right. Worked out fine.
Okay. LeBron and Wade, they did pretty good together too. Like they're going to be just fine. The usage rates for LeBron and Kyrie aren't that different. Yeah, and this is LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
So if I mean, when you're Luka Doncic, you want to be dealing with Hall of Famers. It seems to me, I don't agree with it, but it seems to me like he's much more responsive to guys that have already done what he's hoping to do one day. Well, he's got one.
Mm-hmm.
He's got one of the two goats.
He's got the one.
So if LeBron is saying, hey, let me do this and this, I want you to come here, he's going to say, yes, sir. Yeah, he knows it's his team down the road anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see any problem between those two.
Yeah.
And by the way, I watched LeBron this morning, like chasing Norman Powell over screens. He is not the nimble man he used to be,
Mm-hmm.
but he's still extraordinary.
Oh, yeah.
He's still a very good player, just not elite anymore. But it's amazing what he can do. Yeah, they're going to be good together. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, the as we said, short term, the Mavericks will be fine this season because again, Kyrie and AD still going to be good. They're not as good, of course, because Luka's gone clearly, but they'll be okay. We'll see what happens in the future. Lakers will also be fine this season. Not going to win. Neither team's going to win the title, but they'll be fine. But in the future for the Lakers, with Luka as the guy, yes, you can see. Hey, the Jackson Hayes improved, Mark Williams improved. Like, who else can they attract to come here? Like, they have a runway where you see this is our superstar of the future. Here's our direction and where we're going now. They're certainly not going to be building the draft because they have limited to no draft capital left. But
but let's talk about that. They've got players that if they deem not good enough, they can move them for some assets. Reeves is good.
He's very good.
Yeah, they've got some good players. I think they'll fit just fine. They've just got to fill some other holes. They have a hole. They still have another hole at the guard spot.
Mm-hmm.
Reeves just one. They've got a few things they've got to do. Hachimura, the small forward,
yep,
can be upgraded. There's some things they can do. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a free agent for Minnesota this year.
That would be nice.
He's a nice fit. Yeah, really good shooter and defender. So very good two-way player. And with Minnesota not doing so well right now, maybe he'll want to get elsewhere. They just got to be able to create the money for it.
My thought about saying that they're not going to build the draft is the Lakers have not demonstrated that they are a team who can develop player talent. That is not seeming to be what they do as a franchise. They are more, let's swing for already established guys. So, we'll see what they do from that point. All right, David. So the league gets shocked on Sunday morning and all these stars and people are talking like, well, if Luka can get traded, that means I can get traded too. I mean, well, yes, anybody can be traded, right? That's just the reality of how this league works, unless you have a no trade clause.
Hold on. Let's pick on that. I pull that thread. This is something Henry's been talking about. The money being what it is, you're almost hurting yourself longer term if you're that successful. They only have X number of dollars to spend to build out a team, whatever. So yeah, and it would get traded in part because of your supermax.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just a lot of money. I think I just want to say this on the record now. I've already told you guys. I think the NBA should still come up with a rule where the team isn't penalized for having to pay a supermax
to its own guys. Yeah.
With its own guys,
mm-hmm.
which you can't pay for someone else anyway.
Right.
So if you trade him, that team acquiring, you can make that rule of, okay, you got to pay the supermax.
Right.
But I just developed this guy. I created the system, the strategies, mm-hmm. implemented everything. They earned all NBA, and now I get punished for this extra dollars.
Right. No,
the player deserves it, but mm-hmm. don't punish me for it. I think that's a fair. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that if it can work, because I don't think it's Indiana's got to pay a supermax for a player who no longer is as good as he was last year because of an injury, but they deserve the credit for developing him. The player mm-hmm. deserves the credit, and he's the one getting the money. But don't penalize the team too. I think we should change that.
I agree.
Everyone could be traded up probably because of that. Because that you become cost prohibitive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's just the reality of the situation. Okay, the league is shocked. There's moves being made. People see, oh my God, the future. What's happening? I think you might have said this to us in our chat.
I'm scared to hear. I'm scared to hear what I said.
It's like I think we both we agreed. You were like, OKC those teams, Boston, they went to sleep feeling just fine Sunday night. And they're fine. They're not concerned that Luka's now on the Lakers. Like, they
I think
trust
they'd
in what
have been
they're
more
doing.
concerned with him staying in Dallas with
Yeah.
the team they had around him
Mhm.
than in LA this year.
Yeah. And so I think, and by the way, OKC, and we're still early. The trade deadline has not happened yet. We still have some hours to go. In essence, they kind of have a trade deadline move. Chet Holmgren was taken off the medical report and is available to play starting tonight or Friday night is the next game. That's almost like making a trade, right? Someone who has not been present for 40 whatever games. Well, he's back now. Now, of course, he's not going to be immediately amazing from day one, but they've got time now to get him ready.
I've heard he's been pretty amazing.
Well, then he might be.
I've known about this for a while, and it was speculated that he'd come back on Friday. I didn't know if just because he's ready to play Friday, they'd play him because the All-Star break's right on the corner.
Right.
And so, but if he doesn't need a few extra weeks, I'm told he's looked pretty damn good in practice. Now, practice isn't the same as a game.
Correct.
Playing against video coordinators and all of that. So, nevertheless, yeah, he's going to be a welcome. And they've got some feeling out to do with him and Isaiah. They played so little together.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope Chet stays healthy. That's it. The third injury would be a real problem.
Oh my God! Yeah. But again, this is a team that's 40-9 or 41-9, whatever they are, without him.
Are they really only 9 losses?
Yeah, they haven't hit double digits yet. Let me make sure I'm correct, but I'm pretty positive they
better
have not
than
hit
Cleveland
double
now.
digits. Yeah, they are. Cleveland's 41-10. They're 40-9. Yep,
that's amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, we've SGA, by the way, last night, another 50 burger,
and they'll do more deals because just trust me, they're not done. That's all I can say about that.
Well, as we decided that they should be, right? As I said, they are the one team who can get exactly what they need and what they want. And that is an advantageous position to be in.
And I'm not saying it'll be a deal that moves the needle as much as just do some other thing, whether participate with some groups to get an extra draft pick. You know how much they love those things.
Sure does.
They'll do some things. I don't know if they necessarily will work to make the team better this year. But I just think they're in a position to do something in these next few hours.
Are they looking at, do you know, like how most ownership groups are telling their GMs that shedding any salary?
Ask me that again.
Are they looking to shed any salary? Like most owners are telling their GMs, well, let's cut a little bit of money out right here.
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't think it matters too much. Yeah, to my knowledge, that's not anything I've heard.
Okay.
It's not stupid for you to say though.
Well, because so many, and it's not just, look, as Henry has mentioned before, and we've talked about here at True Hoop, it's not about necessarily getting out of and getting under the cap. That's almost impossible for anybody unless you're already just slightly over. Yeah. It's just moving down positions, right? So I'm in the second. Can I get us into the first? If I'm in the first apron, can I just get us into the luxury tax? Right? Can we just shed, and it's similar to that move that the Mavericks did, right? Cross control. We don't know what we would have paid Grimes because he's young and good. That new contract would have been something untold. I don't know the number is. I know the Caleb Martin number. Controlled. That's controlling costs. I know what that money is, right?
And Grimes was probably going to get more than Martin. If maybe definitely more than Martin. So because they probably ought to talk to the agent. They know what the agent wants and know what he can get in the market. So that was a done deal in the sense of, okay,
yes,
we're going to get a similar kind of impact player who's 5 years older. Mm-hmm. Again, they don't care about that.
Right.
They just want to make sure they get their arena and save money doing it.
Yeah. And so a lot of owners are going to be looking at, okay, and that's what a lot of teams are doing right now. If you kind of look, they're shedding some salary and just getting more controlled costs in where they know and they can project going forward. All right, David, another trade happened last night. Jimmy Butler is headed to the Golden State Warriors. Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, PJ Tucker, and a protected first-round pick are going to various teams, including the Heat and the Raptors. Butler also, as we knew probably was going to happen, signed a 2-year, $111 million extension. So now his contract, Steph's contract, and Draymond's contract are all lined up to end at the same time with that new extension. Steph's going to be 39. Butler's going to be 37. And Draymond somewhere in that range, 36, 37, somewhere older as well. Look, this obviously is a move for the Warriors to try to win this year and possibly next year. But I think you and I agree, not happening. At least I don't see it. Maybe not. Let me not speak for you. I don't see it.
I mean, it's fair to wonder if in this situation, management ownership didn't ask Steph, what do you want? Do you want us to try to get Jimmy? And if he says yes, I think they should do what he wants. It's not my money.
Right.
But yeah, they just have a lot of holes. They have a lot of holes. The day's not done. They have Kuminga.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the really,
Yeah.
We have to watch out for these next 4 hours.
Right. And we have to see,
hours.
Well, to that point, if they keep Kuminga, I think he's still coming back from injury, so he's not due back
he's not
yet.
Playing right now.
And if they trade him, what do they get back in return?
Right. They have a hole at the 2.
Mm-hmm.
Podziemski is either starting. He played well last night.
Right.
They lost to Utah.
Lost a double-digit lead to Utah.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy's really more of a 4 these days than a 3.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to play him at the 3 with Draymond at the 4, he can't play all the game at the 5.
Right.
They have Looney's having an amazing season at 25 minutes or so a game, maximum. Normally doesn't play that much. They started that kid Post, a two-way player. I don't know why. Trace Jackson Davis is out day to day. He could be moved. I think he's got value. He's not going to help them this year. So they've got 2 or 3 major holes. I don't know that Kuminga's the 3. I think he's a 4. And I think the Warriors have said he's a 4. Now, and I agree with them. I would have more as a 4 than a 3. He's valuable to somebody.
Yeah.
And so let's see if they get a 2 or get a 3 and let Butler play some 3, some 4, which is what I think they want to do ultimately. And then Green can play some 4, some 5.
What about a shooting big?
Yeah, I read about the Vooch thing. When do they have a fuck about shooting bigs? I don't understand what anyone's talking about. They've never used one before, and they've done pretty damn well. Like, I understand values of shooting bigs.
Right.
In this particular lineup, it doesn't make as much sense.
Yeah.
But they do. I think they have one legit NBA center on the roster, and that's Looney.
Yep.
Who's playing great. He's limited, but he's playing great. He's one of the best defenders in the league, one of the best rebounders in the league, and actually he's shooting his free throw better. Beautiful. And he can really pass and knows the system and all that. Winning player. But he's by himself, and he can't play. He plays 20-some minutes a night.
Right.
So if Draymond plays another 15 minutes, you still got some time at the 5. So upgrading at the 5 would be great. I'm not sure if Vooch is the answer, but maybe he is.
Yeah.
It's better. But you give a Kuminga for him. I mean, Chicago would feel like the Lakers.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be nice.
That'd be huge. And they also have Moses Moody still, who I guess I don't know if they think what about him, if he's any good, and
he's not. He'd be great if they could pencil him as the 2. But I don't think.
But they clearly don't think they can.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So look, again, let's put it this way: in a series against OKC, not favoring them. In a series against the Grizzlies, not favoring them.
They wouldn't be favored, because they're going to be a bottom 4 seed at best. In
a series against the Rockets, I'm still not going to favor them.
They're not even guaranteed to get in the playoffs. Aren't they 11 right now?
Yeah.
Who are they going to beat?
Well, right. It's like them and Phoenix are basically tied at that 10 spot. So yeah, they've got a ways to go.
So they could beat Phoenix. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got it in front of me right now. So the 9. Yeah. Well, Sacramento could go. I think they'll go down significantly. But Zach LaVine's good.
He is.
So Dallas probably goes down a little bit at 26-25. Minnesota with Julius Randle being where he is, who knows? So maybe they can go up a spot or 2, but they're not going to catch. I don't think they're going to catch the Clippers and the Lakers at 6.
They're not getting in the top 6. No,
I don't think.
No, I don't think so either. But listen, this is the Warriors basically saying, okay, the 2 timeline thing was not a good idea, and we're going all in to try to maximize what we have left of Curry. Like they maximized too late, in my opinion, right? If you were going to realize that was the way to go, should have done it after you won that title in 2022, right? Kept reinforcing yourself then, as opposed to waiting now. But listen, it is what it is. Teams do what they do. De'Aaron Fox, David, is now on the San Antonio Spurs. The whole bunch of people moved. Spurs got Jordan McLaughlin as well. The Kings got Zach LaVine, as you mentioned. A bunch of picks and swaps. And Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter all went out to the Bulls. So the headline there is Wemby and De'Aaron Fox as a 1-2 combination. From a basketball fit, how do you like that as a 1-2 punch?
Great. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah. I love it. They've got flexibility. I happen to love Devin Vassell at the 2. And with De'Aaron at the 1. They also can play Devin at the 3, find a quarterback and play De'Aaron off the ball. Obviously, you can do that. I'm not sure that's the best move for now. You just got to continue to add the talent that you want. But they've got 2 terrific players. I love Fox. Love Fox. I watched them play last night. He looked very good in his first game.
Yep.
It's a charming. He's really
Mhm.
grown up, in my opinion. And Victor's got a lot of growing up to do too. He's still a young player.
Sure does. Yeah.
But he's going to grow into something pretty damn special. So yeah, the Spurs have a lot of work to do, but they've got a couple nice building. They've got 3, I think, definitely future guys. Because I'm a big fan of Devin
Vassell.
Well.
Yeah, I think so. Remember, we always kept saying when Wemby's ready to win, which, by the way, folks, is now, because he's already top 5 in estimated plus minus, or top 7. So he's ready to win now. So I think Vassell is one of those guys who we can agree on. We think is part of this long term going forward.
And they're one game behind Golden State, by the way.
I was just going to ask you that. So with Wemby, Fox, and Vassell, I think that's young enough, good enough. They can make a legit run at this at the play-in for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Golden State should be better with Jimmy than with Wiggins, marginally. So at the very least,
right. I mean, Wiggins was good this year, like shooting threes well, and
he's played well. Jimmy's better, but
of course,
it's like I said, marginal. It won't be a huge. It's not like you're replacing him from a bad player. He was a good player. It's a plus player, and so the West is deep as hell. That's the one place. I don't think it's super top heavy, but it's very deep.
Yeah.
So Golden State has a lot of guys to pass up, and San Antonio does as well.
Yeah.
But to me, if San Antonio in the last 2 weeks of the season, every game is meaningful.
That's huge.
That's all you need. If you don't make the playoffs, they'll make it next year probably. It'll be good for Wemby to go through the pressure of that. That's all these teams have to go through. You have a nice little win streak, whatever. Play better in a month, great. But the next level is when you're really playing meaningful games in late in the season for seeding.
Yep.
To make the seeds to begin with, and then of course in the playoffs itself.
Yeah, no, I love this for them, and I'm just excited to see where they go. Look, Wemby has, not that we didn't think it was possible, but Wemby's already made quite a leap offensively, and he's not even anywhere near what the ceiling is. So this is scary times for the league. All right, folks, we'll be back after a quick commercial break. All right, David, a trade that we probably knew was coming in the sense that the Pelicans were going to get off of Brandon Ingram. Maybe I'm a little surprised of where he ended up. Maybe you're not. So Brandon Ingram is now a member of the Toronto Raptors. The Pelicans get Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, and 2 draft picks. So right now in Toronto, let's start with them first. They have Scotty Barnes, who David loves. We all love. Excellent player. RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and now Brandon Ingram. And they also have Jakob Poeltl and Chris Boucher, although he might get moved. Grady Dick, of course. They have a lot of rangy 6'7", except for Quickley. He's not 6'7", but it's got a long wingspan. Dudes. Obviously, Ingram helps them offensively in a major way because he's just an incredible half-court shot creator and bucket getter, which takes some pressure off Scotty. How do you like this fit for Toronto? And do you see some kind of vision that they have there of what they want to be and what they want to do?
No. I mean, it's just weird.
It's kind of clunky, right? A little clunky.
Yeah. Ingram is a volume guy. RJ is a volume guy. Scotty needs to be the volume guy. I don't know they can trade. I haven't looked to see RJ lately. The Raptors have been playing better. I don't know what they did last night.
Oh, they got blown out by the Grizzlies last night. And we'll talk about the Grizzlies in a minute.
They were getting killed. That's right. I remember seeing it. That's why I didn't look back at it. It wasn't close. RJ is he's all right. I don't know that they're going to be able to trade him until his contract's up. He's not worth the money they're paying him. So I like Ingram and Scotty and Quickley together. RJ's, to me, the clunkiness is RJ, who's from Toronto. It makes it weird. It's not Brandon. Brandon is the health issue. The people I've talked to that have coached Brandon really love him. Really love his professionalism, focus on details, loves clips, training, the whole thing. I love that.
He's Great. A pro.
Total pro and super. I'm a big fan of his. He's been disappointing the last couple of years because of his injuries. He's been great in the playoffs, but the Raptors, that's not going to matter. The Raptors is
they ain't making the playoffs.
Yeah. So, but they've got good talent. I just don't know if RJ's good enough to be moved.
Yeah.
And until his contract's up.
Yeah. All right, let's move over to the New Orleans side of this. Is this the precursor for tearing this thing down and starting the rebuild? Or are they going to roll the dice again and say, well, if Zion's just healthy, we'll be fine. And when DeJounte Murray comes back.
I think they would love to trade everybody. Yeah,
I
I
think you're
think
right.
so. Yeah,
That's
CJ.
yeah,
Yeah, DeJounte's out for the year.
he is. Hmm.
Yeah, so I feel I like those guys, and injuries are a part of the game, and it's just bad luck.
Yeah, I think David Griffin is. I think it's reset time in New Orleans.
Well, I hope David keeps his job.
Well, that's the other piece. Can he?
Willie will be employed immediately by someone as an assistant coach for
Mhm,
sure. He's
mhm.
well liked. Players like him, coaches like him. I don't think anyone would have done any better given the injuries he had. But I hope David and his staff keep their jobs too.
Yeah, no, it's listen, anyone would have drafted Zion because of the immense potential and talent that everyone saw. I mean, David, you wrote a piece that he's an MVP candidate, right?
Yep.
Just as
2
little
years
as
ago,
2 or
yeah.
3 years ago.
No, 25 years ago.
Right.
Long
Well,
time ago.
it seems like that now, right? But the promise has not been achieved for a variety of reasons, and maybe it will never happen ever. But it looks like it won't happen in New Orleans. So will somewhere else be the place to make that happen? We don't know. We'll see if he gets moved by 3:00. All right, the Bucks made some moves, and this is another one, David, where you and I start the season. We're not high on the Bucks. I'm still not high on the Bucks, even though Giannis is playing like a maniac. They moved Khris Middleton.
Dame is playing good too,
and Dame's playing well too. They moved Khris Middleton to the Wizards for Kyle Kuzma. Patrick Baldwin, a second round pick, is going to the Bucks. AJ Johnson and a pick swap is heading over to the Wizards. Look, I like Kuzma just fine, and I think this might have been. Go check the salaries on that. This might be a cost controlling measure too, for Milwaukee. I just
save a little bit of money, maybe
save a little bit of cash. Look, in about a year, Giannis is going to be like, "What am I doing here in Milwaukee?"
I don't think it'll be a year.
Oh, you think before that? Okay.
Yeah, but I listen, Kuzma. I think Kuzma's really good, and just
like
in a terrible situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean the Wizards aren't building something; they might be, but you're playing with a bunch of guys that have no clue what they're doing. I was talking to an agent this morning about we were talking about Milwaukee, but playing with some of the two-way players they have. This was a veteran talking versus playing with AJ Johnson, who's part of that deal.
Mm-hmm.
Nightmare playing with him because he's a high school kid.
Right.
He doesn't know what he's doing. He might be great one day.
Right.
Not this now. Is what Washington's full of those guys.
Mm-hmm. Koulibaly and all them. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. But Kuzma was playing with those guys. So I'm hoping we see the best Kyle Kuzma version in Milwaukee. Then it's a nice deal. Yeah. I think it's got a chance for that.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily think it's a great chance, but it's a chance that because Khris Middleton, when he's on, and which mostly was very good late. He had a couple games where he didn't score at all the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when he's on, he's very hard to guard. It fits that situation well. And he and Giannis had a good partnership. Kuzma's kind of goofy. I think Giannis Khris is ultimate professional.
Yeah.
Khris is goofy.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Giannis
is a little goofy. Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that all plays out. Look, my point in saying all that is that Boston and Cleveland and the Knicks, I don't think are particularly worried about the Milwaukee Bucks. So that is what it is. It's part of that deal because of the way the CBA is and you can't aggregate salaries and all this stuff, these trades are 3, 4, 5 teams deep because a lot of people have to get involved. The Knicks were part of that trade. Jericho Sims is going to the Bucks for DeLon Wright. The Knicks get draft rights to Hugo Besson, who's a French player, some cash considerations, and the Bucks get the draft rights to Matthias Lissort, another player who I don't know anything about, but that's just moving players around. I will say this about that, though, as David says all the time, there are talented players all over the world. Those two players could be potentially very good if they get developed some way, somehow. So don't just throw them away if you're a fan of either of these teams. Who cares about these guys? If your team got them, it's because I think they could be something. Let's hope they do some development and actually give those players a chance to develop into whatever they're going to be. All right, go ahead.
I'm looking up something right now because I don't know for sure. There's they got some time. Okay. Some of these teams are playing two-way guys, but you can only play two-way guys up to like 50 some odd games.
Yep.
And then you better convert them or they can't. And like the Bucks have a two-way player, Ryan Rollins, who that's what I was looking up. I watched them play last night. He's playing first and fourth quarter minutes as a two-way player. He only has like 14 more games before his deal's up. So you got to do some deals to open up those spots too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's happening in some of these places is they want to convert their two-way guys for the playoffs because they've outplayed someone on the roster. You got to open up room for them because very few teams have that 15th spot already open.
Absolutely. A trade happened right before we came on, maybe an hour or so ago. The Sixers sent Reggie Jackson to the Wizards. The Wizards get a first-round pick as well, a future first-round pick, and the 76ers get Jared Butler and 4 future second-round picks. Look, Philly, I mean, I know Embiid's back, but I think we all agree Philly's cooked this year. Like
I didn't read the details of. They got 4, so they get
4 future seconds.
Yeah, they're trading those. Yeah, so Daryl's probably doing something and needed more seconds. Is my guess.
Yeah. So looking to make a move to salvage this season, right? That's the hope.
No,
maybe not. Okay.
I mean, I'm aware of at least one situation where he just wants to add future talent.
Okay.
So probably needed more seconds for whatever he's going to do. Not necessarily, but I'm aware of other things too.
Yeah.
He's very shrewd. I happen
sure.
to think Daryl's got the best eye for talent of anyone in the GM spot, pretty much. Although I thought Nico had a really good one. I'm not blaming him for this mess in Dallas.
No.
Daryl's very good at transactions too. These are his strengths. So he's got something cooking that's smart.
Listen, these guys, this is what they get paid millions of dollars for, folks. In addition to protecting their billionaire owners.
Well,
right?
That's first. That's front. That whole front page of their job duties.
Yes, that's the first.
That's the whole page. The fine print at the bottom and the back. That's the basketball part.
Everything you do is about making sure that these people are not the story and nobody knows anything about them. That is your job.
Listen, Josh Harris admitted that he fired Sam Hinkie because his kids were getting made fun of in school. Like I don't know what else to say. Like they didn't buy a team to be made fun of.
Correct.
They want to be lauded.
Lauded or not thought of at all.
Either one is fine.
Either one.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, David, when I texted the group chat last night and I said we must talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. The Grizzlies are on quite a run right now. 9 of their last 10, up to second in the West now. Full 2 games up on the Houston Rockets, who've been struggling of late, lost 4 in a row. And Jaren has just been playing out of his mind. He's 5th in EPM, 95th percentile on offense, 97th percentile on defense. Over his last 9 games, he's had 9 straight games of 20-plus points and 3 games of 30 or more. Over his last 9, 27 points on 53, 46, 81 shooting splits. He's 28, 7, and 2 blocks per game per 36 minutes. David, I feel like, of course I'm excited because I root for the Grizzlies, but it's also watching what he was like as a rookie to what he is like now. I mean, talk about player development. Like, wow. Like, when he gets the ball now and he goes into his move where he crouches down low and goes into the post for that jump hook, I'm like, automatic. It's going to go in every time. It's incredible what he's developed into. And you said he's playing like an all-NBA first teamer. And if you're 5th in EPM, that's what that means.
Is that where he is now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's overwhelming. He's overwhelming. When, as we've talked on the show before, when I said in the draft process he's Tim Duncan 2.0, my point was gives you the defensive abilities around the rim and all of that, but offensively he's got a whole nother bag of tricks. Handles the ball. I thought he could shoot. Turns out he is shooting, but it's the scoring off the dribble is super impressive. He's what Duncan would have been if he had been born 25 years later or whatever. He's incredible. Yeah, he's just impossible to guard. His bull rushes down the middle of the floor where he'll go at you, bump you, get to his half hooks.
Yep.
He's got an amazing left hand, of course. He's one of the best players in the world now. It's amazing. And he's 25 years old.
Yeah, that's
maybe Miriam would trade him.
She probably would. We got to pay him. How much money? Oh, no. Get that dude out of here. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
It's quite wonderful to see Memphis playing with him and Ja. By the way, they started adding more pick and rolls back in their offense. And I actually wanted to ask you this basketball question, David. So everyone talked about the Memphis's offense, right? And it's sort of more of a flow-based offense, right? Less ball screens. Not that they don't do any ball screens, but less ball screens and more of a motion-based offense, right? We know the Warriors run a motion-based offense. But pick and rolls are still a staple of basketball. So when you have a flow-based offense, can you flow into pick and roll? And how do you kind of work that out to utilize your guys' best skill sets?
Well, just think of it this way. If you're either moving towards the ball or away from the ball. So a DHO pick and roll, very similar things,
Mhm.
style of offense is coming towards the ball. And then, but I would just call it away. If
Mhm.
when I was coaching, we would have, if I wanted you to screen away was an audible for us. Away,
Mhm. Mhm.
go screen away, right? And so I grew up on an away based offensive passing game that Bobby Knight did. So you're going away, you're creating land
Mhm.
in front of me. There's just my guy. If other than people shrinking, but they're shrinking from farther away, right? Okay. If I'm doing ball screen based stuff, I'm coming towards it. The clunkiness comes in with that point of attack. Are they hard hedging?
Mhm.
Well, now I've got two on the ball. So that stops. It's hard to go somewhere.
Mhm.
Two guys are on you. Am I ghosting through, blurring through, right? That's
Mhm.
fine. That
Mhm.
opens up some space. It's just a moment of a dead period where I'm reading it. If they're switching, okay, how's that happening? Who's they're switching on to? I'm maybe stagnant as I'm reading it. And so what you want to do is get to a point where you're flowing. And so the nearest guy who's going to set the screen happens to be with the matchup that you want, whether you want to attack him, depending on how they're guarding you.
Mhm.
Uh, if you have to bring a guy from far away, the clock is ticking while
Yep.
he's coming to get you.
Yep.
So there's a way. I used to always say, everyone used to run set plays, and if it didn't work out, you get into what we call motion.
Mhm.
So I learned 30 years ago to run motion
Motion.
into a set play.
Yeah.
So now I've got bodies moving, the defense a little more spread out, and now I can get. That's why I came up 10 years ago with an audible based offense where we start out moving around, and then we can yell at audibles, get right into the actions we want based on what's happening during that time. And I took it from like watching the Spurs back in 2015.
How
And
beautiful was
honestly, a
that?
lot of the teams are running
Woo-hoo.
exactly what my son was running in sixth grade. That combination with audible calls, a lot of audible calls. And so, yeah, I'm sure they'll tweak it a lot as the season goes on for Memphis and also how teams match up.
Mhm.
So some teams you may feel like are better defending ball screens than others. So we'll do less against them and more against the teams that are not as good.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal what they're doing. They got Gigi Jackson back, Vince Williams back. Gigi's been looking
He's
excellent
a
off.
stud.
He
I would have said he is.
what he was a second round pick. What happened? I don't.
He had the worst pre-drafts ever.
Oh, his workouts were just bad.
One of my players destroyed him so badly. The team told us afterwards, like maybe he'll never play basketball again. It was so bad. They were joking, but he got destroyed. He was a kid and he was sick. I heard he was sick for a big part of the process, and so he lost a bunch of weight. So he was held against him, and he's a talented player.
I mean, but this is stuff you talk about all the time, right? Where it's like you can't let one thing color your entire decision. Like do your homework.
I'm not impugning NBA teams for this. I don't know. Maybe they did their homework, and maybe Memphis player development is just that good, or sports psychologists, or therapists, or a nutritionist.
Mhm.
Who knows what the problems were?
Mhm.
But something's clicking.
Yeah,
And he's still got a long ways to
for
go.
sure.
But the talent is there.
He's only 19. I mean, so like,
he's young. Yeah.
but wow, this kid's got. I mean, and again, it's like timelines. What do people always talk about Memphis is, oh, they need that wing guy. He has the profile that looks like he could be that guy. The problem is Josh 25, Jared's 25, dissipates, right? So it's like the timelines may not match, right? For him to be ready to help them.
Did he come from the G League also?
Yeah. Memphis Hustle. He played a ton of Memphis Hustle.
Assimilation is a problem. Yeah. I mean, no, but he came from the G League Ignite, no?
Yeah, I think he might have. Let me look him up
He didn't go to college.
I don't think so. Jackson the second.
That was just a mess. When they just canceled it, it tells you all you need to know.
Mm-hmm,
so I think he came from there.
No, he went to South Carolina. That's right. He's a Gamecock, just like
that's right. 1 year.
Just like from South Carolina, like John. Yeah, 1 year. 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to
fell
him.
to the second round, but listen, I'm not complaining.
He fell because of the pre-draft. He was really bad in the pre-draft, but when I watch him, I see a super talented guy.
By the way, because he fell to the second round, that means his salary is where it is. That is huge for Memphis because
it's where it is, and if they extend him, there's no poison pill with second round picks, so it's easier to trade if you want to trade him. Get the extension you want. You can still move him at the current cost.
Correct.
In other words, I'm not saying he'll get the extension. I don't know what his deal is, but if he were to like Nembhard got an extension after 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
If they won't, the Pacers aren't going to trade him. But if they wanted to,
Right.
the team getting him gets him for $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a first round pick, that poison pill is established, it part of the deal.
Yep.
And you have to, the math is different. You have to factor in the future salary.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the case for second round picks.
Yep.
So he's a very valuable guy, but I don't think they're going to trade him.
I don't think so either. They're sticking with this guy. Exciting times for the Memphis Grizzlies. You sent a note to me yesterday saying,
"Oh yeah,
I want you to put Stephen Castle in the document, and I want you to put a humbling game over the top." I was like, "Ooh, this ought to be good." Yeah. Stephen Castle, by the way, who I know we both like, and who he's got a lot of his compete level very high, and is like
that's what I'm going to talk about right now. So I had already forgotten about it. So that's why I told you to put in the document, because I would never have thought about it again in 100 years. So yesterday, I don't know who they're playing. They're playing a game. I'll think of them. Maybe no, Atlanta, maybe.
Yeah, Hawks. Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, Hawks. I think you said Bucks. Yeah, Atlanta, right. I said no, Atlanta. Yeah, Hawks. So he gets a big time dunk. He's in the slam dunk tournament.
He's an incredible athlete.
Super athletic, powerful guy.
Mm-hmm.
Gets a big dunk and kind of laughing at someone and kind of strutting his stuff.
Feeling good, yeah.
A few minutes later, he gets a wide open 15-footer like it was 1984, and he shoots it right into the shoehorn. What do you call that now? Where it gets stuck between rim and backboard.
Oh, it's a wedgie, but yeah.
Yeah, uncontested 15-footer. And that's what I texted you, like, humbling game, my man, humbling game. You dunked it. Congratulations. You're a super athletic guy.
Mm-hmm.
You blew the skill thing. And, oh, by the way, you need to get that part figured out.
Yeah.
Because
the shooting.
as a guard, De'Aaron Fox is there. Devin Vassell is there. You're already fighting for second string minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You better learn to shoot, young man.
Yeah, no.
Which you probably will do, but he's super athletic, that's for sure.
But this is the game, right, David? And this is what you coach I'm sure if Stefan was one of your guys, this is the stuff. Actually, I'd love to know if he was one of your guys and that happened, what would you have texted him after the game?
I mean, I would have said, when you dunk the ball, congratulations, that's 2 points. But celebrating it makes no sense at all. You're supposed to do that.
Right.
And let's do our best not to try to take a jump shot and have it stick.
And be a wedgie.
I'm not sure I've ever seen it.
Wedgies.
I'm not sure my play's done in 22 years. That's bad. I've had some bad shooters, don't get me wrong.
That's a bad miss. That's a bad miss.
From 15.
Yeah. That's
under no duress.
Yeah, that's a very bad miss.
It's one play. He's a bad offensive player right now.
Yeah.
But his upside's really good. He's a nice piece. I mean, I don't think he's a 3.
Mm-hmm.
They could play Devin at 3. They might feel like we don't need to get a quarterback. We have De'Aaron and Castle.
Mm-hmm.
They can play backcourt together, which is true. They might be able to. And Castle can defend maybe better than Fox ever will be able to. So it's nice also. I think Devin's a plus defender.
Yeah.
With Wemby at 7'4" inside,
that helps.
You can be a little smaller on the perimeter, just like Cleveland get away with small 1 and 2 with their 2 big guys inside.
Mm-hmm.
They still got to get the 4. I don't think Jeremy's the answer at the 4. I could be wrong, but I still see some upgrade opportunities there.
And they have time to do that as well. You put Marcus Johnson's highlights into the chat, and you were like, and you were like, I'll tell you why I was looking at them.
Oh, yeah. So I was talking to a player about Marcus Johnson. He didn't know how to pronounce his name. And
Bucks, long time LA guy, played at UCLA. Like, he's not a Bucks color commentator.
National
like
champion.
Yes, like a very good basketball player.
Yeah. If you're a Hall of Fame relevant, you're a hell of a player.
Yes.
And White Man Can't Jump fan.
I mean, yes, he is.
Right?
Yes, he was a White Man Can't Jump. Go to my car, getting my gun, shooting everybody. That is Marcus Johnson.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite commentators in League Pass. I just really like him. I first thought about him. I see them plenty, but I don't think about him much. Giannis was basically challenging Chris Paul, like saying, "I'm right here." They fought a couple times during the game. I'm right here, and he had a mean look. He had a sinister look on his face.
Yeah.
And Marcus Johnson, who's very sweet, he's like Walt Frazier. Like, everything's good. They're all fine. It's just basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I love his whole personality, and he's a smart analyst. I think he does a good job in the game. I enjoy listening to him. But with a very serious voice, he said, "Someone's got to get Giannis out of here." but anyway, so I'm watching the tape of it.
Oh boy!
These are just the challenge of taking open 15-footers. And this was in the 80s, my heyday. I loved it. The game was played on such a tiny piece of land. It's hilarious.
Look, you and I have said this a million times on this show, and it's not about denigrating the 80s and the 90s or any players of that era.
No.
But you cannot objectively watch the basketball of those eras and come out here and tell me that the players today would not be elite in that era. I don't want to hear it. Like, it's just, I just don't want to hear it.
Vice versa. The lion's share of those guys wouldn't make it now. However,
correct.
Had they been born 40 years later,
sure,
they probably would have been great.
Right.
Yeah, there's no reason to think they wouldn't have been working on their game and all of that. They were then too. I was coaching the 80s, high level high school. But yeah, it's just such a different game. And to hear I don't know why TV hates us so much. It keeps showing us the hero shot of or the person being interviewed while the game's going on,
right.
or the bench reacting.
Right.
When meanwhile, teams are playing fast, shit's happening. I miss a highlighted game. But they also our legendary players commentating on social media just act like these guys are terrible now or soft. Meanwhile, the game's getting more physical.
Yes.
I don't know if I put in the chat. I'd executive told a friend of mine the other day, an agent, that we need men. Like, the game is getting more physical. These skinny guards struggle more. We need men. And I've watched a couple of games I've watched a lot of games the last 2 days, probably 8 or 9 games. But 2 of them I thought, oh, this is like football. And I hadn't seen it like that in a while. Like, you gotta, like, the rest just weren't calling much. You gotta be strong. There is, you can't have your hands on a guy as he's going to shoot too often, especially if he's a star. You just can't. And that maybe will change some, but there's still lots of physical contact going on. These guys are not soft.
Well, we talked about it just a little while ago with Jaren Jackson Jr., right? That's a 6'11" dude who is strong and coming down. And, Scotty Barnes was guarding him a lot last night, and Barnes gives up a few inches, but Barnes isn't some frail, little
strong as hell, big strong guy.
He's taking it in the chest and is like, damn, this guy keeps knocking me off my block. Like, yeah, because he's a big dude. Like, you got to be tough and big in here to deal with these guys, man. I don't know what people are watching, but whatever. All right, David, top 5 time.
Okay, number 5 for me is the New York Knicks.
Same.
Hot, playing great.
On fire.
Number 4, I've got Memphis.
As do I.
But I thought about putting him in place of Cleveland at 3.
I thought so too, but because Cleveland had such a dominant record, I'm like, all right, Cavs, you can keep your 3 spot.
Last night.
And a huge shot by Garland at the buzzer.
I knew he was going to make that shot.
You knew he was going
to?
You're like,
I don't know why I knew it. Yeah, he didn't bank it, didn't he? He made it, right?
Yeah, I think he made it. Yeah.
I just thought that he's going to make this shot. I don't remember why I thought that, because I don't normally predict it was great, but I thought he'd make it. And then I had Boston at 2.
Yeah.
They've kind of righted their ship a little bit. And then OKC is the class with it's unfair. With Chet coming back, yeah.
With Chet. So if I ask you to give a percentage on the NBA champion coming from outside of those 5 teams we mentioned, what chance would you give it?
2.
Yeah.
No. I'll do 5 with Denver.
Okay.
Yeah, he's that amazing.
Oh yeah, the Jokic is so good. Yeah, I just think that these are the teams with the caveat that if Jokic is doing this thing, they're going to be a tough out. But yeah, all right, this is it.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens if Denver has a move left in a few hours. We got 3 hours left.
Well, it's funny, right? They said that Michael Malone was like, we're not trading Michael Porter Jr. MPJ had like 39 and 12 last night. It was unreal. I was like, this is the MPJ that I want to see more of. I mean, you got to score 39 every night. I know that. But like, I want to see more of this type of guy. Because he's got it in him, right? The game's there. It's just consistency.
And all right, folks. Been good too.
Yeah. As I mentioned, we'll be back tomorrow to wrap up anything that happened the rest of today, and we'll discuss it then. We'll see you. Take care.